Sammy, what are you doing in the car? Are you serious? Why did you jump in there? Get out of there. Sammy, we're not going anywhere. Come on, get out of the car. Sammy, get out of the car. All right, you can stay in the car, but you're not going to be happy. Yet another Sammy in the car video. We didn't play that one as often as we do the other one. That was the day we went and bought all that. We went and picked up our auction winnings.
Went to that lady's house.
Yeah, then we went and picked up our auction winnings at one of the Kiko auctions, and we were unloading it out of the car. And he just jumped up in the car like that dog. If you open the car door anywhere near him, he would just. And he does the same thing because he figures we're going somewhere.
Well, he did get to go for a ride with us this week.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Where did we go?
Sunday, we took our trailer up to Hartville Flea Market to secure our spot.
Oh, that's right. We took him with us.
We went with us because we weren't really,
Yeah, we weren't really going anywhere. We'd have to leave him in the car for any length of time. We stayed in the car while I unhitched the trailer and rolled it over to where I wanted to park it. And we took up. We took 2 spaces in Hartville last Sunday.
$50, guys.
$50 for 2 spaces.
$50 for 2 spaces.
In Philadelphia, it's worth $50.
And it was. Yeah, they've raised their prices. I mean, it used to be
it was like $5 when we started, wasn't it, for a spot or something like that?
$10 or something like that. Now it's up to $20, and now because it was a holiday weekend, they charged you $5 extra, so each spot was $25.
Yeah. So we did the Hartville Flea Market on Monday, and for those of you who saw Jeremy's video, he put us in his video where he was going on.
Yeah, it was the weather was good. It was in the 60s.
It was sunny.
Very sunny.
I got myself burnt.
As you can see, I got,
Yeah, you see it. Well, you see it
all over the top of my hands, and we got burned. I mean, it right on the top of the hands and type of the forearms. I mean, it was really very warm for a day. I could do this and keep myself warm. But yeah, it was a nice day with nice turnout. We had some sales, and we were really happy about it. The only commentary I would say about the whole experience, and I would say if you have pets or very small kids and you want to go to flea market, you might want to think about it, because the prime time of any flea market is between 8 a.m. and noon. That is prime time. That's when everybody's out. They want to get out there. They want to be the first to get the things. And plus, it's nicer outside. And everybody was happy. The dogs, were walking by and they were barking at the other dogs.
And tails were wagging.
And then the kids were having fun. And then about noon, 12:30, when the sun was at its highest point and it was warm and that sun was bearing down.
The grounds are all paved.
They're all paved.
All blacktop.
All blacktop.
So you got these dogs walking around on hot paved blacktop. It's not like Rogers where it's grass and some gravel.
But you could tell, about 1:30 or so. I mean, the dogs just kind of looked at each other and just kept on walking.
Yeah, I'm not going to bark at you. I'm not even going to sniff your butt.
And then the people that were getting the one family that got me was they had all their kids. Well, the one had their baby in a stroller, and he is just crying and whining, and I almost holler, why don't you put the stroller hood up so the kid's not sitting in the blaring sun, baking in the sun. Put that hood up, that little sheet.
Well, we even got smart because I was going to bring the canopy and set it up, and I didn't because it was in another one of the trailers, and I would have had to. Yeah, it would have been a lot of work to get to it, so I didn't do that. But we just crawled into we put the chairs in the trailer. We crawled in the trailer. We're just sitting there in the trailer. Right. Somebody came by, we jump out and take care of them and everything. But
I felt for that kid. I mean, I'm like, that poor kid, he's whining and screaming, and because he was literally baking in the sun, and all that parent had to do was just put that hood over that shade. What do they call that? The cover over.
And what did I say to you?
And he wouldn't have been in the sun. He would have calmed down.
I hate to say this, but people are stupid.
I know. Yeah. The flea market, it's a lot of exercise, and Hartville is out in the sun, in the asphalt. It doesn't
There's
take
no
long.
trees or no trees, near what, because obviously it's blacktop.
And then another person that's got me, like, they've been walking around that market for a while. This one dog that came by, you could tell he was a senior dog, and he's been walking and walking. He's like,
yeah.
And you kind of want to say, your dog's a senior dog, maybe he's done for the day.
And some of these people weren't, like if we were to take Eddie to something like that, I would have a bottle of water just for him in a bowl that I put down every few minutes.
Right.
But I didn't see those provisions for
like J&J.
Most of these dogs.
Joe and Jenna, they bring little Remy, and Remy's got a little water and a little cup, and Jenna will constantly give her a little bit of water when we're out and about at these outside, storage unit, auctions. But yeah, I just kind of felt like, I know, folks, you're happy you're out. It's a decent day for the most part, but it's like, has to have some common sense.
So we come home and Eddie's in a nice, cool house, just sort of relaxing.
Oh, he
didn't like being left home alone all day, but he was
very excited to see us, and of course there was guide time involved, or him and Eddie get a little wrestling with each other. He gets a little happy about that because they have guide. I call it guide time because me and Eddie don't do that.
He chews on me.
He
likes to chew on Daddy when I come home after
Lenny's right. People just don't think about stuff anymore. But the fun that really got me was all these, I thought I was seeing baby strollers. No, these are dog strollers. Okay. People have their dog. These dogs are in these luxury.
Well, they probably were baby strollers until they put the dog in.
Oh, they probably make them now specifically for dogs. So I'm sure they went to like a pet store and paid $500 for this thing. Well, little dogs being these little strollers and all this. But,
see, Eddie would never put up with something like that. But when he's in the car, he has, we put his leash on him. Then when he gets in the car, he's got another thing, and it's pink because we originally bought it for Roxy. We've got a thing where we snap it onto his collar, and then it's the other end clicks into the seatbelt.
Yeah.
And he's still got free reign of the back seat. In fact, we can roll the window down. We can roll the window down, and he can stick his nose out like he does when he wants to. But he can't, if we get in an accident or something. It's got like a cushiony. It's got like a spring thing, so where it doesn't yank him if we stop fast. There's like a range that it stops his flying dog body in before it comes flying up into the front seat. Yeah. But he doesn't go with us that often.
I feel we people are really attached to our pets, so much so, in my opinion.
Mary Dale sent a super sticker.
Oh, Mary Dale, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.
Go. Love back at you. They will now just take their dogs in, and they're not really service dogs. They're just dogs. A couple times I've been in, they're barking. One lady had her dog all decked out in the cart, with the, and it's just like, okay. You can bring your pets in the store if they're service dogs. It's 2 service dogs. They're trained to be out. They're doing their job. That's why you never pet it. When you see a dog with the service dog vest on, you don't pet. You let them do their job. Some of they're trying to pay attention to see if the person they're with might be getting ready to go into a seizure. So, but now people are just abusing that, and they're just taking their pets in, and I think it's not right. I think it's getting to a point now where they're going to have to license service dogs, and they have to wear a vest. They have to have their license on so they can go into these stores, because this is saying, hey, I know how to be in public. I'm safe, but people just bringing their dogs in. Like I said, one dog was barking. They had no control of the dog. And, if your dog's not trained, they could come up and bite somebody, and then you're being sued. So, unless your dog really is a service dog, I know we love to have our pets with us all the time, but there are times they need to stay home.
There was a dog in the place today, or was it?
Did he have a service vest?
I didn't see him. He was all the way across the room.
It's like, people got it. If you got a service dog, get the vest. I'd say we need to license that because you know what's going to happen. One day, someone's just going to take their pet into the store, and their pet's just going to bite somebody, and that's going to cause the store to get sued, the dog owner to get sued because they were not following guidelines. Is you don't bring regular pets; you have to be a service dog.
So, anything else you want to talk about this week before I?
Let's see.
Say what I did today.
I just wanted to talk about the flea market. Yeah, Jeremy and Kaylin came around. Jeremy was coming around, seeing what was going on, trying to make deals. And we saw the guy that had the parrot. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny. It was when, if you see in his video, the guy with the parrot, we saw that guy with the parrot. And my first thought was, after, reading the shirt and thinking it was funny, so my first thought was, I'm looking forward to seeing that on Jeremy's thing.
Sure,
because you never know if two people at a flea market are going to see each other.
Yeah.
But I knew that if Jeremy saw that guy, he would have at least approached him and asked him, about putting.
He was walking around with his parrot. Speaking of
beautiful parrot, I mean,
beautiful.
That was a bird.
Red feathers, the blue, the yellow. Yeah, very beautiful parrot. He had a T-shirt on that says, "If my parrot can't go with me, I'm not going." Yeah. Something to that extent.
If I can't take my parrot, I'm not going.
I'm not going. Yeah. So Jeremy got him on his video. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, the flea market was good. We are now planning to go to Rogers on 4th of July because it's on a Friday. So we're going to be going down to Rogers. That'll be our next visit. And
an important note, used to be until last year, if you had like old stuff like we have, you would set up between the creek and the railroad tracks. Mm-hmm. And they don't put people there anymore. They stopped using that area the end of last year because when I went to book our spots, it wasn't there. So I actually called them and said, I'm trying to set up in this one area. So they explained to me that that's no longer there, and that there's another area where most of the people that were setting up there go. So we're in that area now. But I guess they're just using it for parking now, which is kind of a shame because that was always our favorite place to go.
No, it's just across.
Yeah, I mean we're not far from there anyway. As long as people know,
it's just across the way. I mean,
as long as people know that that's where you go for the old antiques and stuff.
Hey, Mayor Dan. Hey, Mayor Dan. How's it going? I'm sure his area was very busy. Cauga Valley area is very busy this weekend. So this past weekend. Not this weekend. Oh my God. Okay, guys. What's today? What's today's date?
The 31st of May.
31st of May.
Our furnace is running.
What did I do this morning? I turned on the furnace.
You were going to say something. You were going to use an expletive to describe.
I had to turn the furnace on. It was chilly. It was very windy. It's been that drizzly, cold, wet the last few days. I am dealing with sinus stuff today. Not a blast because I think a warm front's coming through because we are going to be warm next week. But I'm telling you, it's May 31st, and I turned on the air on the furnace on this morning because I was chilled. Crazy. This has probably been one of the.
And it wasn't any warmer where I was. It was pretty cold there too.
Yeah, it's like it's been a very cool, wet spring. Spring. We're like 3 weeks away from officially summer.
Well, hopefully by the time it turns into officially summer, it's actually summer and not 55 and raining every day. Yeah, but you never know what you're gonna get. So.
Yeah, it makes you think we might have a cooler summer, kind of like one of those.
Well, if it rains all summer, we're not going to get the building up. We need dry weather to put the.
I know.
The foundation in.
Maybe we'll see mostly 70 degrees, maybe some 80s, and then maybe 1-2 days of the 90s. Kind of like I think that's the kind of summer we seem to be gearing towards, since the spring has just been literally one long late winter.
Yeah.
Cold, wet. Windy. Ugh.
So I went to turns out I left last night.
Oh, he did. He changed. He was going back and forth, guys. Should I go Friday night? Can I get up early Saturday morning? Go. And finally, after the week you've had, you're like, I'm just going to drive there on Friday night. So you left Friday night.
So I left Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I went to Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. Now, of all the time I've spent in West Virginia, either going there for something, when I was younger, my childhood friends had, actually, Rodney's I still see Rodney. They had a property down there. Their parents had a property down there, and I'd go down there with them and spend like a weekend. Or one time I spent a whole week down there.
Yeah, I think they went down this past Memorial Day weekend.
In fact, where we used to go was a place called Pee Wee, West Virginia.
Pee Wee.
And there was a mall there, which was about the size of a 1.5 car garage.
Your garage?
And no, you could put probably 4 of those malls in my garage. So this mall was great because there was a little gas station. It had the old pumps with the dials that moved, and we'd go down there because we had Honda 70s. We'd go down, we'd ride the motorcycle, the mini bikes down there, fill them up, and we'd go into the mall, and we put like a candy bar on there, like we get a box of cereal. You wanted a box of cereal? Fine. Hope you like Rice Krispies. You want a candy bar? Good. Snickers. It seemed like they had one type of everything. And everything you put on the counter.
What else for you?
The guy. Well, I was going to say, the guy would say, "What else for you?" But it came out, "What else for you?"
What else for you? I've heard the story, guys, 1,000 times. Okay.
So that was like the Appalachian part of West Virginia. Berkeley Springs is not that. It's really because when you're going to Berkeley Springs from here, you drive through Pennsylvania. Then you go south out of Breezewood, and you're in Pennsylvania for a long time, and then you're in Maryland and West Virginia, just like that. I mean, you can hold your breath for the amount of time you're in Maryland if you're driving fast enough. It's more like the DC Beltway than West Virginia. But it's still beautiful. I don't know if I said this yet or not. I haven't seen a place in West Virginia that I don't consider like a really beautiful part of the country. And Kathy Stewart says Berkeley Springs is a really nice town. Mm-hmm. There was a hotel there that I would have sooner slept in my car, and there was a hotel that was like really, really nice. So I picked a nice one.
You've had enough traveling,
You walk into the country and it's got like the old wood. It looks like barn siding floors. It looks like a really, really old hotel in it. I think it is, but it's really well maintained, so it doesn't feel old. It doesn't feel modern because when I gave him my key, it was an actual key that I put on my key ring with my car key. It's not modern, but it doesn't look old in a sense that an old rundown hotel looks old. It's old, but very, very, very nicely kept. So I went for a talk that somebody that I follow, his name's Greg Braden, put
YouTube.
on YouTube. Well, he's on YouTube. He's got his own website
and books and things.
And he's written. I picked up his latest book today, but he's written like
And he took had a picture taken of him with Mr. Braden inside his book.
So he signed my book for me, and it was just a really neat experience. Anybody who follows Greg Braden, he can. You think he's bouncing around with all his subjects, but it's really like he's about the subject of humanity. Mm-hmm. So.
And how humanity and how technology is lessening our humanity.
So his latest thing is the world. Basically, from what I gather, the World Economic Forum wants to start by the year 2030. When a kid pops out of the womb, they want to implant a chip into this kid's brain.
Oh no!
Saying that that's far superior than anything we can do technology.
No.
And his whole thing is our bodies are far more technologically advanced than any computer that we have. That was what today's talk was about. Was describing how advanced we really are, and there's a spiritual aspect to it, and.
There's a control aspect from the human point of view.
Well,
leadership wanting this to be done.
What I was going to say was any time I've ever heard talk of like creation. There's the scientists that say one thing, and there's the religious people that say another, and neither one of them are completely right. He's the first one I've ever heard speak that this is okay. This is what we know because this is what we found. The DNA says this. Recent discoveries say this, and this is what I think happened. What I like about him is at the very beginning of any time you go to one of his talks, and I this is the first one I've gone to, but I've heard others that, you know, they're on YouTube, and I've got this. Very first thing he says is, you know, whatever you believe, you can. It's served you well up to this point, and I'm not here to dispute what you believe. I'm here to offer possibilities and say, this is, if what you believe ever fails you, consider what I'm about to say. You know, tuck what I'm about to say for the next, you know, however long the seminar is, a couple hours or day or you know, week or whatever. Consider what I'm about to say as either an alternative to what you believe, or maybe in addition to, or as something that maybe bridges a gap in your knowledge. So that was an all day thing for me. I was there from 9:30 this morning. You know, there were breaks. There was a 20-minute morning break and a little break in the afternoon. There was an hour break for lunch. The rest of it was all up until it was supposed to end at 5:30. And he actually ended a segment of it late. He ended it at 5:15, and then there was another half-hour segment after that where one of the hosts of the event and him sit down, and they did one of their YouTube shows live there. But I couldn't. When I left at 5:50, I left at like 5:20. It said I would arrive at home at 9:05. I'm like, well, that's kind of close because the show starts at 9:15. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna do what I do, and I don't drive dangerously, but I do have a lead foot spirited drive when I want to. And
please, I don't want to be dead for Christmas.
Here's what I found out. No, if you're not weaving in and out of traffic, I mean, here's what I found out, or what I suspect. I think that all the state highway patrol agencies, mainly Pennsylvania and Ohio, blew their overtime budget over the Memorial Day weekend because there was not a single highway patrol anywhere the whole trip. And the trip was a little over 500 miles there and back. I didn't see one state highway patrol in any state all the way there and all the way back. And what's nice is, like, coming back, I got behind and sometimes in the middle of and sometimes in front of two cars that were going the same speed. So there were three of us going the same speed all the way through Pennsylvania, and, you know, safely navigating our way through the state.
Well, I'm glad you came home safe.
And I was able to shave like a half hour off of what it said I was gonna take. No, Kathy, the tunnels in Pennsylvania, there was no. There's only had to go through one tunnel, and remember that tunnel we used to go through on the way to Breezewood?
It's been a long while since I've gone through that area, honey. It's hard for me. I'm sure Breezewood doesn't even look the same now that
actually Breezewood pretty much looks the same. Yeah.
We used to, back in the day, we're talking about the early 90s.
Late 80s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Before Donna came into the picture. Well, that's a whole other story. Yeah. But yeah, we had Corky the Schnorky. He was half Yorkshire Terrier, half miniature Schnauzer. And we would go visit our friends, Bridget and Dave. They lived in Virginia. In fact, they had a Schnauzer and a Yorkshire Terrier, and somehow
they got loose at a specific time in New York.
Yeah, and they got that. Yeah, And then they had Corky, and the Corky needed a home. So literally, like 2 weeks after we got married, we brought a puppy home, and that was him. And every time we would stop at Breezewood, what did we call it? Because that was when we would get out of the car, we'd take him for a little walk and take him to the little patch of grass there and let him do his little thing.
While the car was filling up with gas.
Right. We had a name for it. Do you remember?
Stop and poop or something? I don't know.
Corky's stop spot. I forget what it was.
Corky's poop spot.
Yeah, something.
Corky's pee spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was Breezewood for me. It's always about, okay, this is where we would get Corky out, let him walk around, let him do his thing. And
see, back then we drove like big cars that couldn't make it all the way. We would have to stop for gas in Breezewood because we were damn near out of gas.
I mean, this is we were in our
20s.
We're in our mid-20s, and it was it was no big deal. End of the workday Friday, Memorial Day weekend, or Labor Day weekend, we would hop in the car, take the 8-hour drive. We would roll into Bridget and Dave's around 3 o'clock in the morning, get up about 10, go run around all day Saturday, and then all day
get up,
Sunday,
have breakfast, and
roll around, and then Monday we would hop back in the car.
No, sometimes it was Sunday.
Oh God, well,
yeah. The other times we drove down there just for Saturday.
Yeah, this is when we were young.
Yeah.
Young. We were young once, weren't we?
Now
you look at me and go, let's hop in the car. I'm like, oh no.
Well, one of these days I might have to take you to Berkeley Springs because it is really nice.
We'll have to plan for that. We'll have to plan, but there's no, God, of those days. There's no hopping and running around all weekend to go back to work. No.
Edward says we're still young.
Well, thank you.
There's days I don't feel young.
Oh God. Oh, anymore now. You get up in the morning, everything creaks and pops, and
that's not even what hurts.
Oh.
The creaking and popping isn't necessarily that painful for me. It's just the fact that it's happening is.
Oh man, I used to get up on a Saturday and do everything: the house cleaning, the laundry, the grocery shopping. Now, sometimes I do shopping in 2 days. One day I'll go here, another day I'll go here. To do something like when I did the organizing all the eBay items into appropriate bins and stuff, that took a little while. What probably would have taken a weekend back in the day was when I was young. It took me a week and a half, because it's just, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
So we've been on a half hour. So usually when we're on a half hour, it's 8:30, and we do the State of the Bread address.
But we better do the State of the Bread address now.
It's right there.
Okay. So if anybody wants to, it's me, right? I like Rice Krispies. You know what I do? This is how pathetic I am. I will buy a box of Rice Krispies, and then I buy a box of Fruity Pebbles, and I'll put a little bit of Fruity Pebbles into the bottom of the bowl, and then I put the Rice Krispies on top, and then you just get a nice hint of the fruitiness, and it kind of,
doesn't overpower me.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to sit down and have a treat, then pour a whole bowlful of those Fruity Pebbles, man, that is a treat.
Well, Edward says half loaf.
Okay.
And Jane says third loaf gone, so 2/3 of a loaf left. Kathy says 3/4 of a loaf left. Amy says 3/4 of a loaf.
Did you what?
Did I have bread for? Yeah, I did eat breakfast.
Yesterday.
See, today, now you guys might be thrown off because I was out of town this morning when I got up.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't look at the last few weeks. And Caroline says 2 loaves gone. Faye says full loaf. Maribeth says 2 slices gone. All right, let's grab the bread.
You grab it. It's yours.
One thing that didn't do me any good today was this event was at the American Legion. And their chairs were cushioned, but not enough. Not enough for the amount of time I was sitting there. So I'm a little
sit weary.
A little sit weary, yeah. Between that and I've got really comfy seats in the car, but 8 hours of sitting on my Canada thing. All right, so the bread is what would you say that is about a half loaf?
I'd say half loaf.
About a half loaf.
Half loaf.
Half loaf.
I think I baked it Thursday.
Thursday.
And you had You had bread yesterday, and you may have made yourself a sandwich. I think. Was it Wednesday? I can't keep track of it
I
anymore,
can't keep
guys.
track of it
I
anymore.
can't
It all
anymore.
runs together.
You know,
And realistically, who does keep track of what they had for breakfast every day?
well,
I mean, we do because we do the state of the bread, and I have to think of it. But
well, you have practically the same meal every day.
Yeah. Raisin bran and 2 pieces of toast.
And then
like a half a muffin if we got muffins. Or if we're really lucky, cinnamon rolls.
Well, you might get cinnamon rolls tomorrow.
Or sometimes Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
What is tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday.
Like I said, it all runs together.
So I'll get up.
Tomorrow will be nice to have cinnamon rolls.
I would agree. Hopefully I'll feel a little better because I got to work with the kids for a little bit tomorrow morning. Yeah, I did go see my sinus, my CPN, to have her look at my sinuses, and she said, yeah, you look like you might be getting some infections developing in your cheek sinuses, so keep them clean, and put your inflated Flonase up there, and yeah, and of course they stick that thing up. It's a fun visit, guys. It's a fun visit.
Yeah,
but yeah, what am I gonna do? I gotta deal with it. It's a chronic thing. I'm gonna have to deal with it the rest of my life. I've been dealing with this for my life anyways. I just didn't know what it was until last fall, what was going on. But
you want me to pick your nose for you?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't want to pick.
I'm glad you said no, because I really didn't want to do that.
You don't have to pick my nose.
Okay.
No. But you should have seen what I blew out of it.
No.
You gotta keep them guessing.
Yeah.
What did I marry?
So, I think what we're gonna do. We've been on for about a half hour. It's late. I haven't eaten anything since like 1:30, and I'm really hungry. So I'm gonna.
You're hungry? What'd you do all day? Couldn't you just pick up something on your way home?
I wanted to get home in time for the show.
See how dedicated he is to you guys. He made sure that he wanted to make sure you got home to say hi to you guys, because he liked connecting with you guys. We appreciate all of you who come on here every Saturday night and hang out with us for a little bit and hear about our crazy adventures. I think I know I'm going to have to reach out to George tomorrow, because I think this Wednesday we will be doing a Boss Babes, because it's the first Wednesday of June. Yep. At 6:30, so stay tuned in that. I'll reach out to George, Deanna, and Patience to see what their schedules are like. And then I know next Saturday we're going to be going up to Painesville, so we might be able to go up there and say hi to some people, because Rob's going to have his Painesville run auction, so we'll probably see some folks there. And I am hopeful that June looks pretty open for me, so I'm going to get really on the eBay. I put a bunch of listings together yesterday. There's like 30 listings. Now I got to take the pictures and get everything together on that. I was going to do that today until, I'm over here hot and cold. Yeah. So, I've been having fun. But what's your week like, honey?
It's the first week of the month.
It's June 1st tomorrow. June 1st.
I've already got people hounding me to come work on their stuff, so
you'll be.
I did. Now I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I did.
You're in talks, right?
I'm in talks to. I have somebody help me out on my day job, and if all works out, I'll be able to throw that person. Probably not all the work, especially not in the beginning, but a good portion of the work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not wearing myself out doing that, and that'll in turn free me up to. Concentrate more on like putting my building up. I may even do some YouTube videos.
Yeah, again. So if you guys want to set up some prayers in that direction, that would be great, because we'll be honest, guys. This job is physically beating him up at this point, and if he could get some relief in that area, that'll be much appreciated and be grateful for, because it's hard work. Because now, I've had the pleasure of assisting you on some of your PM, where he has to go around, clean up the machines, note any possible possible issues, so that the people can know to let them know that they go need to order parts.
Well, here's basically the way this works. Preventive maintenance is me getting paid to go through every piece of equipment my customer has, so that I can determine whether or not they need even more work beyond that. Now, when you take it seriously, and you can do the customer service all the way through the process. Some people who, and I'm going to loosely use the words "do what I do," that are in the business, use it as an excuse just to rifle through people's equipment to see what they can sell them, and I don't do that. But
yeah,
I've gone into places and replaced companies where they were charging them 2 and 3 times what I charge, just to go in and rifle through the equipment once a month and maybe replace a few things that need replaced. So,
but it's a lot of crawling on your hands and knees, a lot of bending. No, it's a very physical, intense type of work.
Oh, well, Dan says hope it works out. It was Dan I was trying to hire. Dan, you mean you're not going to work for me?
So yeah, we're hopeful that this will be a very doable situation to give Conkys some physical relief, to put it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And hopefully the weather does stop raining long enough so that ground out there can dry up, so you can start putting the building on.
I do want to get my building up.
Yes, that was the goal for this year.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't really sleep a lot last night. I probably got a couple hours wink. And there's a portion of the presentation I was at today where he asked you to close your eyes and
put all you.
And I'm saying, oh my God, please don't fall asleep. Please don't fall asleep. Please don't fall asleep. It's like I had to. One of the reasons why I had such a spirited drive back is because if I just set the cruise control and was relaxing, I would have fallen asleep driving home. I don't fall asleep when I'm doing 80 plus miles an hour. If I set the cruise control and I'm relaxed, I'll start to doze off while I'm driving. I actually had the sunroof open I had a crack, but
that is the sport of auto racing. Auto racing isn't as much the driving. It's after going around and you're getting up to 100 miles and you're up to 200 miles, trying to keep that momentum with your body. Having been doing that, that's the sport.
See, I tricked Dan into coming to work for me.
Dan, get on your hand. It's a lot. Yeah. Because I've helped you at your PMs, man.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Oh, work. Yeah, me or Dan, we ran into somebody you knew up at the flea market.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't remember their name. It was like a third generational thing where like this was the granddaughter worked at the Hunter schoolhouse. Her parents, which were there, worked there, and
parents worked. The mother
parents worked.
The mother worked there, and her dad worked there.
And so I'm trying to think. I'm like, do you know? And I don't want to say Mayor Dan. I wanted to say Carl.
And he said,
but I'm trying to think of the name Carl. And
yeah. This girl, she's like third generation working the show, and now she hires herself out as a.
I mean, you probably just by her description, you probably know who she is. A lot of tattoos,
And the mother said that her dad and granddad,
yeah,
and a lot of the stuff that's out there was there when the dad and the granddad, yeah.
Like a lot of their personal stuff is in the schoolhouse.
So that was kind of cool.
Oh, excuse me. So I have to eat some dinner.
Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock, and I mean, I've been all day, but that's all right.
Yeah. I got to eat. Even if I just throw a pizza in the oven or something, I got to eat something.
Yeah. But we just want to stop in, say hi. Survived our first flea market. Getting ourselves geared up for 4th of July now, and we'll see how that goes. And hopefully next week we'll have some more updates on school building and stuff, or the new building. And hope summer comes in with June, because
that'd be nice.
I get to warm just a little bit.
That'd be nice.
You guys have a great week. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll be doing Boss Babes Wednesday night. And we'll see you guys back here next Wednesday at our normal time, 8 p.m.
8 o'clock.
And we'll see what Eddie's been up to. Right, Eddie?
Good night.
Night.